Hey Stitches, I'm Matthew, also known as Fairy Godfather, and this is my YouTube channel, Fairy Godfather Knits. Welcome or welcome back. This video is my completed Clue 1 video for the Westknits MKAL MusiKAL 2025. So if you don't want spoilers, don't watch it to the end. I am doing the version where I don't look at spoilers or the clue or the video or anything. I'm doing it just from the pattern, but within this video, you'll see me go from the beginning, from casting on through to completing Clue 1. So if you don't want to see it, this is your warning. And the rest of the video will be showing it. I'm having so much fun this year. A lot of people I'm talking to are having a lot of fun, and that's such a great feeling. It's just great when it can be fun for everybody. And it's just a really exciting time of year. I've already seen some other people's Clue 1 videos. I've also already seen some stuff going up on Instagram. So it's getting to that point where most people are done the first clue, or not, I don't know, most people, but a lot of people are finished the first clue and starting to share it. And so it's just really fun to see all the variation and all the different kinds out there. I kept sort of a vlog going as I was doing Clue 1, so I'm just going to get right into it, and then I'll see you again at the end for the reveal of the finished clues. I almost said Clue 6. The reveal of the finished Clue 1. Okay, here we go. Thank you so much for joining me, and please feel free to leave comments down below. I will answer, and I'd love to know about your MCAL experience or what you think of my choices or lack thereof along the way. Here we go. Hey, so just checking in after having started Clue 1 last night. I'm really digging it so far. It's really fun. It's like Stephen West elements that I'm familiar with. I've done a lot of welts before, doing the penguinos and the penguinos. So I was very used to that technique, but I've never done them in a shawl before. But I like how it's working out. I think it's cool and fun and new and interesting. I chose the brioche option, and I think I'll be doing that throughout. So like the welts have been really fun, and I've been doing a pretty good job of like lining them up evenly. It's very easy to get off by a couple stitches and then have them look sort of skewed. Oh, I also did a lot of welts in that armored, the big cardigan that I have. That's a Stephen West pattern. So I've done a lot of Stephen West welts. So yeah, I like how that's going. And yeah, so I did the brioche option, and I think I'll be doing the brioche throughout. And then this fun, I don't know what they're calling it, stacked eyelets, ribbed something, lattice. Anyway, there's a few names for it, but like this really nice, like sort of open mesh kind of area. It's like, it's a way of striping that I don't mind. Like, sometimes stripes can just get like boring or monotonous. There were some other shawl designs that involved a lot of stripes, but I'm liking this. So I haven't seen any spoilers. I haven't seen anybody else's yet. I didn't even look at the tutorial video, and I downloaded the pattern with no spoilers or photos. I think that's how I'm gonna do it this year. I did it that way last year, and it was really fun. So I've just peeked ahead in the written instructions to see that now we continue. They're calling this a scallop, which I get, and we're gonna keep on making scallops, and there's gonna be 6, and it seems like it's contiguous, possibly both. Like we're gonna build the next scallop off of this side, and it's gonna continue on, and there's gonna be 6. One of the things I'm enjoying, so they're calling this a scallop, as I said, and last year we sort of started with a similar shape. It was maybe more of a full, I think they were calling them semicircles. It was a full semicircle, and there were 3 of them, and they were quite large, but you did them absolutely separately. And then eventually you knitted these wedges that ended up joining them together in kind of a cool way. So this is like reminiscent of that somewhat in the shape, but you're not doing them separately. They're gonna all be attached. They're gonna be continuous or contiguous, or I think both. So it's giving the opportunity to play with color. Like at the beginning, you were asked to assign your 4 colors letters A, B, C, and D. And there were descriptions of different ways to do it, and it was really helpful actually, like really helpful, really thorough. It explained like if you have this kind of color pattern, you might want to do it this way. Because mine's basically 4, just like 4 separate tones, that description a little bit said it kind of doesn't matter. They're all going to interplay in different ways in different sections. So I ended up there was a suggestion though that you make color A either your darkest or lightest. So I went with the darkest, which was the purple. So anyway, like if I use it as the main color in all 6, then obviously there'll be a lot less of it available for the other sections. That's like as intended. If I start playing around too much with like switching the color dominance and stuff, I'm worried that it will affect the amount of yarn I have of each color in later sections. So that's making me like kind of not want to frig with it. I kind of want to do it as like intended. But I still want the opportunity to like play and be creative and stuff. So I think what I'm going to do is mohair dare. And I think I'm going to do mohair in every section. So I'll get to that in a second. But I also kind of want to play with scraps and some of those other colors that I had in my initial videos to see if they kind of incorporate in. I like the color choices I made. I'm very into it. I'm very into the way the 4 of them go together. It's kind of serving like begonia. Oh my God. It's kind of serving like begonia to me. Like there's something sort of like floral almost about it and like weirdly plant-like. I think my inspo, it's giving me monster too, like in a sort of like Queer Little Nightmares way, or just a general sort of like Pixar monster kind of way, which I like. So I'm not sure, yeah, I'm just not sure like exactly where it's gonna go. But I think I'm gonna experiment. Oh yeah, I already said, with adding in some like other color pops and some other little like mohair elements and stuff. Let me show you some things. So these are like some mohair dare, quote unquote. They're not all mohair. This is Surrey alpaca from Les Garçons, Santa Yeti's Beards. This is La Bien-Aimée lace weight that I used last year as my mohair, even though it's not mohair, it's just wool. And this is mohair, and this is mohair. So I think I'm going to hold mohair with every yarn, but these different ones, in my next scallop, and then see if I can repeat that. And that'll be like a fun way to play with color while still keeping the yarn usage as written in the pattern, if that makes sense. But I do also think incorporating little bits like this into one of those brioche sections could be really fun. So like the vibe I think I'm gonna go for is sort of like magic mushroom, like psychedelic, like forest at night, like I don't know, fungal neon realness, you know, sort of like otherworldly, like the color that came from outer space, mushroom glory, you know, like that's kind of where I think I'm going with it. But we'll see. Anyway, I'm gonna start on my second scallop now, and I'll check in after. Hi, I am at my first confusion or like problem. Sorry, I don't have a better shot set up. It's just like these things happen on the fly. I wasn't planning to like check in at this point. Let me show you what I have. So this is my second scallop. It's amazing what a difference the blue mohair makes in the color. And then for this color B, the color looks almost the same, but the texture is really different. I guess the color is different too. It's a lot lighter with that white. So anyway, I'm interested in this mohair scallop. I'm now at this point where you start to do the brioche on the next one. But the instructions are telling me that these stitches need to go on a spare cord if I'm doing the brioche option. I have the right number of stitches that they say, but then the very next row tells you to slip these two along with this one. So how can they be on a spare needle, or like they have to be on a spare needle that I can also slip from? Or they're not supposed to be counted in this total, in which case I'm 2 stitches under. And at the same time, I'm not perceiving the reason for that. Like, I think it has to do with the brioche and the way that you slide stitches. But to me, because we're working on the rightmost end of the left needle, we'll just be going back and forth and sliding the stitches. And it won't matter that those stitches are there on the cord, as far as I can tell. I know that I must be wrong. Like, this is one of those, like, cognitive dissonance moments. Like, there is an instruction saying that you're doing the brioche, that you must put them on a spare needle. There is a reason for that instruction to be there. There's a reason why they put that in. But because I can't see it or perceive it in this moment, I just want to, like, go ahead and ignore it. So, unfortunately, I am going to try that because that is my learning style at this time. I just think it will work. Like, I keep visualizing it in my head and going through it. I go across with the main color. I go across with the second color. Turn to the wrong side. Across with the main color, across with the second color. Turn it around. Like, I don't see why it's going to be a problem. So I'll let you know. Okay, so here I am. I've knitted across to create my welt. I slipped my last stitch and my next 2 color A stitches from the first one. And I just have these ones hanging out on the cord. I still think it's going to be okay. Oh, it's not okay. It's not okay. I get it now. Is because of the way the cord is, I can't actually slide these stitches. So I'm just going to unattach it there. Anyway, it'll all be fine. I can still slip them. I just, now I get it. Sometimes you have to actually do it to get it. Okay, so back to doing what I'm told like a good boy. I have my needle here, and these stitches are just hanging out on this cord. I was wrong. Hey, everybody. I keep sitting too close to the camera, so I'm trying to make myself be further back. My apartment is chaos in the way that, like, happens during the MCAL, because there's just, like, stuff everywhere, but I kind of love it. It is Saturday morning, so the clue came out Thursday. I got to it kind of late in the day, but I've had a lot of knitting time, so I'm making great progress. I'm halfway through. So this is where I'm at. So what to say? I don't know. I'm loving it so far. Like, I'm having a good time. You know, I feel like with the MCAL, people often say that they want to learn new techniques. I feel like this design is full of techniques. There's the welts from the beginning. Like I said, like, I haven't seen welts in a Stephen West shawl before. There probably are some, but I haven't encountered them. I'm a little, like, to be honest, I'm a little sick of the welts. It's just funny because you knit all this stockinette and then you fold it down and it, like, attach it. So it's just, in terms of progress, whenever I get to a welt psychologically, it's like, I'm happy for the stockinette break in some ways, and it's like, just knit. But then because you go back, it's like you lose all that progress. Like, you do 8 rows and you're like, yeah, 8 rows, you know, and then it folds back down and, like, you're back to where you were eight rows ago. So it's just a progress thing. But anyway, I really like how they look. And I think they're, like, a cool little section divider. And to be honest, I think I'm happier doing them than I would be doing, like, garter bumps or, like, you know, there's that one where it's like, how does it go? You knit a row, you knit a row, you purl a row, you knit a row. Like, something like that. There's a way to do it, and it makes these, like, round bumps. He's done that in other shawls, like, between sections, or sometimes these garter rows, but I like the welt. So I like the welt for that. So this was scallop 1. This was scallop 2. Oh, yeah. So for scallop 2, I didn't do just a mohair dare. I did a mohair audacity. I did mohair with every single yarn for the whole scallop, which probably did make it slightly bigger, or at the very least looser. I got more conscientious about knitting loosely. I tend to be very tight, Steven's a bit more loose. I think the designs do better when you're a bit more loose. Even with the I cords on the edge, it's easy to make them too tight. So I'm trying to be very aware of being looser. So that was happening, plus the mohair just made it a little bit thicker. So like, it looks way bigger, but I think with blocking, this one will grow a lot. And like, it's gonna be fine. So anyway, I did this like blue, should I show them? Whatever, I did a blue mohair with the purple, and it really, really lightened the color. I did that pink suri mohair with the brioche color. That whitish gray mohair with my color B. And I found I actually had one green mohair, so I did a green mohair with that green door color. So that one was really fun. I love how it feels. It's so smooth and soft, this scallop. And so then for this one, I decided to bring in a little color pop so this turquoisey one wasn't one of my 4 colors. It was like a scrap that I had that I'd been talking about previously. So I decided to just throw that in. I just really wanted to see it with the purple. And I found that this red, this color B, was getting kind of lost in the brioche. I'm sure it will look, you'll see it more once it's blocked and spread out. But it's sort of like so hiding back there in the background, and I wanted to show it more. So that was the first color substitution I did. So I put it up here in the like color D spot. And I did put some mohair in this one, but just in the welts. And again, so that really changed like the color. Like, I like having the welts. I'm not gonna switch out the purple or the gray. Like, so the purple will stay the main color for this whole section, and all my welts will be based in that B. But I might put like mohair with them to change the shade a little bit. So what's interesting now is we're coming over here, where scallop 4 starts on this side. Oh, I have the correct number of stitches too, which always makes me happy, except for one, which is why I have this little stitch marker in here. But I know what happened. There's a thing in the pattern, if you're doing it, you know, where when you make the welts, you have to slip the first 3 stitches off and like kind of keep them aside while you do the welt. I was trying to do it like on the needle, and they kept falling off. And I would suddenly be halfway through the welt, and I'd look and like be like, oh wait, like why are there like 3 random stitches hanging off? And it's like it would have just like slipped out in my magic loop, or just something with the needle tension. It was like falling out or pulling out. So I started just using a safety marker. What do we call like a light bulb marker? I just put the 3 stitches on there while I'm doing the welt, because it's easier for me for them to just not fall off. So anyway, it was like either like a yarn over and then the 3 I-cord stitches, or like a stitch and the 3 I-cord stitches. And so I lost 1 stitch between the I-cord and the thing. So anyway, I'll just remake it. Like, I can see the 2 floats there. It'll be fine. And the first part of scallop 4 starts with these 4 stitches on this end. So it's going to be, I have an interesting choice now of like how I'm going to develop the colors out. So I can see where the next 2 will go, right? You can imagine it'll be just doing the other side. But where will the 6th one go? Because I know there are 6 scallops in this clue. So it might be in the middle, I could kind of imagine. Anyway, so I'm just trying to figure out, like I could just exactly recreate this one on this side, and then exactly recreate this one on this side. So like, then I would have symmetry, which is like always a good place to go, especially when it's already quite busy. But another part of me feels, since it is so busy, like, why stop now? You know what I mean? Like, this is amazing, like truly amazing, like in the sense of amazement and sort of like wonder and like befuddlement. Like, I wasn't expecting it to be this blue. I wasn't expecting to have this much color variance. You know, it's nothing like the woven chevrons in the end. So I don't know, like I'm having fun playing with the colors and having fun improvising. And to be honest, like I'm just not in the mood to do like 6 identical scallops. Um, so yeah, I think I'm gonna keep changing it and have all 6 be slightly unique. That just feels more in the spirit of this MusiKAL. And the way that I'm doing it this year. I still have not looked at any spoilers, any images. I'm just going from reading the clue. So that's why I'll read ahead to see if I can sort of figure out the placement. I don't mind that, but yeah, I'm really confused. I think it's gonna have to be that. Like it'll be 2 more this way, and then there'll be 1 in the middle. So we'll end up with kind of almost a semicircle. Anyway, that's what I'm thinking. I'll check back in soon. I hope it's going well for you. Let me know in the comments below how your MCAL is going if you're doing it. All right, talk soon. Bye. Hi, it's 3 o'clock on Saturday. I'm about to rip this out. It's the second color combination I've tried for the brioche, and it just isn't working. And even this, I don't love. Like, it's so pink compared to the rest, and I thought I would have a way to like work that out, but I think it's better to just accept that it's not going so great and try something else. I still don't want to just exactly recreate this, although I know I could, and that's like maybe the best option. But anyway, we'll see. So I'm a little discouraged having to rip out and like losing all the progress I made today. But at the same time, it's not really that much, and it's gonna be worth it in the end. Okay. Okay, so it basically took me all day to do 1 scallop, which is this one, scallop 4. But I'm happy with the colors I chose in the end. I like how these are sort of inversions of each other. But I now wish this was different. Hold on, I'm gonna say more in 1 second. Hello, friends. I don't know how much stamina I have right now or like how eloquently I can speak about the process. But it does feel like time to say something because I just want to keep going. Like I can't stop. So it is, it's Saturday evening because I had that mishap with kind of like choosing the wrong yarn and just having a kind of messed up clue and then having to redo it. I've just done that 1 scallop today, but I do like how it turned out and I do like how it looks. I guess basically all I'm trying to say is like, because I haven't looked ahead, I wasn't totally clear on the construction, and obviously that's like my choice. This kind of happened last year with the Go-Go Dynamo in the final clue, where like the way the shape was and the way the instructions were, people in my Discord group could instantly perceive that like because of certain decreases, the whole thing was going to end up in a semicircular shape. And I wasn't getting that and thought it was going to come to a point. It's kind of similar like with this. The construction's really interesting. I like the modular nature of it. And I can like see where this next scallop is going to form, but I think it's going to be in the middle. But it's like, I can't, I guess, always visualize how it's going to make the rest of the fabric gather and how that's going to alter the shape. Like, what has happened to original scallop 1 in this moment is, like, not anything I ever... Like, anyway, it's weird. So, like, even though this is scallop 4 and it's, like, basically in the position I thought, it's still somehow different. And, like... I feel like 5 now is going to be in the middle, and I'm expecting that 6 will then be to the left of that. And it's just that if I had known that going in, I would have done things differently. I would have done color stuff differently. But, okay, I'll show it to you again and show you what I think I'm going to do. So, you know, I was speaking earlier about symmetry. And, like, if I had made this the exact same as this, I mean, that would have had a certain look, but it would have been too close to this. So I'm kind of glad it's different. I especially like this part, like the marriage between this and this, like, and even this, I'm really digging. Oh, by the way, you could never believe me because things change so fast. One of the last things I said to you was that I was never not going to change color A for this entire section, and I absolutely did. I just had to try. I just had to try it in this, and I thought that the sort of like red and blue and purple would work, and it does. Like, I'm happy with this quote unquote like color story, and that like I used the blue mohair in the green door here, and like that muted it. I think like it's still giving green, but they're kind of all different. Anyway, so I like this. So I can see from the pattern that like, hold on. I have to say a whole thing about needles. 1 second. Okay, so this is not critique. This is just my personal experience. There's been a lot of really prescriptive stuff about the needles in the pattern, and it makes absolute sense. You saw earlier when I was like, I don't get why they're telling us to do this, so I'm just not going to do it, and immediately realized I was wrong. So you definitely do need to have certain sections of the stitches on their own needles. Like, I understand why it says spare needle. I understand why you need two, and it's like for the brioche so that you can slide the stitches back and forth. There are probably other reasons as well. And like, it's no big deal, but the pattern is very specific, like down to the stitch about like which stitch should be on which needle. And again, like I understand why it is important to the construction. But I just don't, I just don't like to follow the rules all the time. But it's also like when you're, I'm trying to pick a prop, like when you're knitting on any version of these cords, like, there just is the assumption that you are knitting on cords with needle tips. And, like, most people are. That makes sense. You kind of have to with the size that the shawl rows eventually become. But, you know, I guess I would say since we are doing, like, small scalloped sections that build, like, there's no reason why you couldn't be doing this on DPNs. Like, straight needles might not work because they have end stoppers, like if you're doing the brioche option as I am and so on. But like, I basically wish I had DPNs, but like, it's just hard to figure out the size. I have a gauge, like a needle gauge tool somewhere, but like to try to find it and like dig out my 3.5 millimeter DPNs and like hope that they're long enough, because you get up to like 50 something stitches in some parts. Anyway, so I do have a spare needle set, but I've been kind of alternating when I use it because the cords, like, they get so twisty and it gets so finicky to have so many cords, multiple balls of yarn. If I'm doing the mohair, like, I've got like 4 yarn threads, 2 needle sets. It just gets a bit like this. Like, it's just a bit confusey. So sort of like whenever I can, I've been going back to just the main needles, or like, I don't know, kind of alternating how I do it. That context is necessary for now me to go back to the project. So I can tell from what it's saying about the needles that the sort of like 3-stitch beginning of the next scallop is here in the middle. But I need to keep in mind that that's going to like pull this in somehow. So like, I just don't know if it's like, if I'm just doing the middle and then the last one will be over here, then I would plan certain things. So for example, like the welts, these ones are just like pure color B, and these ones are both color B with the white mohair. If the next 3 are going to line up, I would maybe do them all with this blue mohair, you know, so that each tier or each row of like scallops has its own like welt color. I'm really liking the welts, to be clear, not necessarily doing them, but the look of them and how they appear. And they're now reminding me, remember I said I was sort of going for like psychedelic mushroom, like interstellar mushroom vibes? They're reminding me of like those mushrooms that grow out of trees, like on the side of birch trees and stuff, how you get those like cascading mushroom shelves. It's kind of how I'm seeing them, which I love. So I think so I'm basically basically what I'm trying to say is that I'm tempted to skip to the end to see the overall construction of the whole thing and try to figure out which scallop goes where. But I haven't been peeking this whole time, and I kind of don't want to start peeking. And like, it just makes sense that scallop 5, if it's starting here, will go here. And even if that does bring that in, the 6th one, I'm just really imagining will be over here. So I think I'm going to do this one kind of weird and neon to honor like the neon scrap option that I almost went with. I'm going to do the welts with the pink mohair in the middle. And then I will either like recreate this or a slight variation of it, hopefully for scallop 6, if it indeed ends up there. I could be wrong about all of this, but I'm not going to look, and that's what I'm going to do. Hi, sorry, one more thing from me. I am confused about the needle tips. That's where I started, and then I kind of forgot for a while because I was thinking about color choices. So, like, and I don't know how much I'm allowed to reveal because it's a paid pattern, but then also, like, he does the whole thing up on YouTube, so I don't know. I feel like I'm allowed a bit. Basically, like, so the next instruction I have says, like, there should be 1 live stitch remaining from scallop 1. Have it. I can even show you. Like, it's this one. This is the one they're talking about. It's the live stitch from scallop 1. It never tells you, again, in my opinion, where to put that. So, like, yep, I've got it. Then it refers, like, to do something with the specific number of stitches from scallop 4. I have that number of stitches. But, like, where it's telling me to insert the needle, I can't do it from that side. But I don't have it properly, so that's fully on me. But, like, I could slip those stitches onto another spare needle. It's no problem. But then it has this, like, but it still never says, like, where that scallop 1 stitch should be at the end. And then it's like, the spare needle tips should now be facing each other, with this many stitches from scallop 4 on one of the spare needle tips, and the live stitches from scallop 2 and 3, which are all the way on the other side, on the other needle tip. Like, it's essentially what I have. And then I think what they want is for, like, the 3, like, the start of the new one. Okay, I get it. Oh, it's just weird. Yeah, I would never do it like that. Like, I understand why they wrote it like this, but I would never do it like that, or say it like that, or instruct it like that. Like, I'm going to go my own way. Let's see what happens. Okay, so I do get it now, I think. Like, yeah, I do essentially have it right. Like, they just want all the stitches on a spare needle, but in my case, it has to be, even just for the length, the main needle. And then, like, the 3 stitches you work, I think it's going to be this guy, and this guy. So they just want those on their own needle so that you can be doing stuff in the middle. So anyway, it's just like what you call the main needle and what you call the spare needle, and the terminology gets a little confusing, but I think I get the overall point. And you do kind of have to keep them on needles because you keep needing to, like, slip stitches and, like, get stitches from the other side, so you can't just put a stopper on the end. That's why you, like, literally need 2 needle sets, essentially. But I have extras. It's all going to be fine. I'm still here. I'm having this problem too. I mean, I don't understand where they think your color A attachment is going to be, like, placing it in the back. There's something confusing to me. And, like, sorry, there's, like, speedsters outside. I also, like, it's just one heck of a predicament because I just changed out my color A. So I don't know if I want to keep this color A or if I want to go back to this color A or have a totally new color A. I am confused. Hi, I've just been talking to you for 5 minutes and it wasn't recording. I was basically saying that I was not expecting this to take this long as a decision or to be talking about it or filming at this time of night, but it's a full moon and I kind of just can't stop, so I'm going to just keep going. So I was saying I'm going to have a green door moment. The green door is one of my yarn colors that I just chose somewhat randomly. So I'm going to invoke green door protocols. I'm going to walk through the green door and I'm going to use the green door. So I'm going to make that my color A for this scallop. And I'm going to do full mohair substitutions. So I'm going to do the pink suri mohair for the brioche part. I'm going to use the blue mohair for the welts. So they'll be a lot thinner and more kind of like gossamer, but they'll be this bright blue. And then I'm going to use the green mohair in the color D position. So it should all be a little bit lighter and more spiderweb-like. And if it does end up in the middle, as I think it's going to, that could be a nice placement for that. And hopefully it will look okay, and we will go from there. Stay tuned. I'll show you after. Okay, bye. Just to say, this probably won't make sense, but I put it onto this longer needle, and this is what keeps happening to me. Like, it keeps, like, falling out, and now I just have everything on the other two needles, even though I know this little section is supposed to be on its own needle, which they're calling the main needle, but I don't know, it just doesn't work out for me. So I went from that, like multiple needles. I had a DPN here at one point. I had so much going on, and then I kind of just end up back at this. It's just one needle now. But I know I'm going to have to change it out when I get to the brioche part. But anyway, I'm a weirdo, but it works. Okay, it's about 7 p.m. on Sunday, and I've finished the end of Scallop 5. I think the last thing I recorded was like with all the needle madness, but it worked out. Like, it was just a bit finicky at the beginning, as things sometimes are, because you were sort of joining on two sides. But once you had like a little bit of that wedge going, it was no big deal. After the brioche section, I just put it on one big needle and just like went back and forth that way. It worked for me. But yeah, you just kind of have to fiddle around with those things. And that's obviously like a totally personal, just idiosyncratic thing. Like, I don't know, just sometimes the way instructions are written in any pattern might not work for you or don't work for me, and I will have to figure out a slight workaround or alteration. So anyway, so I really, I like how it's going. I'm having fun. I'm improvising. I'm excited. Like, it's nothing like what I expected, but it's so interesting and so fun. I was worried for a second that scallop 6 like wasn't gonna go in a V shape like I thought, but more like a parallelogram, like 3 and 3. But I did peek ahead, and scallop 6 does go on the other side, so it should end up with like a kind of, you know, wedge. I'm figuring out the colors I'm gonna do for number 6. But I think it should be great. It's like, it's serving kind of like fairy wing. It's serving kind of like butterfly. I'm still liking the sort of like mushroomy, like fungal, like spore, psychedelic vibe of it. So I'm really excited so far. And I think I'm going to be able to finish Scallop 6 tonight, which means I'll have like 3 whole days before the next clue, which is great because I can knit on some other things and do some other work that needs to get done. I also just wanted to share, for anybody that watched my MCAL videos last year, you would know that one of the big things that happened was that one of my friends passed away incredibly suddenly, just out of the blue. Today is actually the anniversary of his passing, October 5th. We didn't find out for a few days, but this was the day that he passed. And so we just had a little gathering. I'm gesturing like this because he lived right across the street from me, and there's a little parkette just down that street as well, where he would walk his dogs. And so a bunch of us, about 8 or 10 of us, just met, and we all wore black and red as the Trinidad colors, which is where he was from and what he loved. So it was just fun to see everybody in these like amazing black and red outfits, and we just like shared things that he loved and shared stories and lit a candle. And yeah, it was a really nice memorial and like a really nice remembrance of him. And it was also like a really nice social connection. It was just to be around all those people, like most of whom I only knew through him. A lot of them I haven't seen since his memorial last year. So it was just like a really beautiful coming together. And after spending a few days like totally isolated just knitting on this, it was a really nice break. At first I was sort of like, oh, people and conversation, but it was so lovely to see everybody. And yeah, now I'm home for a quiet Sunday evening, and I'm gonna finish Scallop 6. So that's the update. I'll check in again when scallop 6 is done, unless there's any issue. Sorry, I forgot a confession about scallop 5. So it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But in this part, there's always 15 of these like brioche ridges in every single one. Here, I only had 13 for some reason. When I got to doing my welt, I realized my stitch count was way off. And then I counted those and I realized, so I somehow missed, I guess when I was setting it up off of this welt, I didn't check or something. So, you know, it's still fine. I just like added the extra stitches into the welt. Not when I not when I started it, but like in the body of the welt, there was only 4 stitches under, I think. So I just added them in throughout and then attached it. So, and then, you know, from here on, I would have had the correct number of stitches. So, like, the only issue is, like, if this was supposed to be a little, like, wider, maybe it would make all of this wider. But I think, like, it's actually close enough, and, like, the edges were right, and brioche really stretches. And, you know, everything else is fine in the rest of it. So I don't think it's a big deal, but it's just going to be one of those unique design features that if anyone ever took the time to count, they would notice that scallop 5 had 2 less brioche stripes than every other scallop. So weird. Yeah. And then so scallop 6 is going to build here. It says in the pattern that it's identical to scallop 4, which is this one. Just done here instead. So it will be the 3 across. I'm picking the colors. I'm definitely going to do these welts the same. I don't know if I should have done all 3 in here, like maybe, but I kind of like having the just white one to tie things in. And the blue is like very bright. Anyway, I think I'm going to go back to purple. Like obviously one option would be to use the color B, like the welt color, for this one as like the main color, and then I would have like the 3 purple, the red, the thing. But I don't think I'm going to do that. I'm either going to return to the purple or I'm going to use the red again. Anyway, I'm figuring it out and I'll show you what I choose when I'm finished. Okay, well, here she is in all her finished glory. So you can see what I did there with scallop 6. I used the same little pop of aqua color for the brioche that I did on this scallop, but with the purple and red reversed. I did the blue mohair in the welts, and I did the purple in the eyelet section. So yeah, altogether, I like where it's going. I guess if we're doing predictions, there's part of me that is expecting more scallops to develop here and here. And if that happens, I will make them, like, I'll use the green as the A, I think, and start to, like, transition more into a greeny color. I'm also thinking it's going to be just, like, wavy stripes with, like, eyelets where it kind of, like, fans out and makes that really wavy shape. In which case, that could be a great way to use a lot of color B to sort of, like, get back to a neutral before I do like more colorful stuff in a future one. He said in clue 3 that this C color will have a solo, so I'm excited for that. So we'll just see. I think my main thing is to try to keep the green and red. Like putting in the blue mohair made it so that it's not too Christmassy here, and like this is the pink enough that it's not too Christmassy there. It's more wicked colors. But I want to keep the red and the green away from each other as much as I can within reason, just so it doesn't get Christmassy. But I don't think we're in danger of that right now. And yeah, it doesn't look like predominantly purple, but I feel like it has the spirit of purple within it because it is like red and blue. And there's going to be a lot more in later sections. So I'm so excited to keep going. Yeah, I'm so excited to keep going. I actually didn't finish till Monday morning, but still it feels like a long time. And I thought I would just immediately jump onto knitting on other stuff, and I didn't. I kind of took a whole day like break. I've thought about it and I've pulled out some other projects, but I just didn't get to them. I'm so focused on this and I don't know, it's just been hard to pick up anything else. So anyway, I don't have long to wait now. It's Wednesday, and so the clue will drop tonight while I'm sleeping, hopefully sleeping. I think it comes through around 2 a.m. my time. So there is always the option of like staying up and waiting for it or getting up really early. I might opt more for that, getting up early and getting a good start, because last time I had like my weekend clear, I had the days clear. I was like just going to be working on MCAL for those days. This time around, I do have some like social engagements and other things. It's Canadian Thanksgiving over this weekend, so I'm going to my parents and I'll be spending a lot of time with them. I should be able to knit while I'm there a little bit, like at night in the morning, but you know, I'm there to spend time with them and visit and do stuff for them and everything. So, yeah, anyway, so, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm definitely confident I can get it done throughout the week. It just might be a little bit closer to the deadline this time. Yeah, so yeah, there she is. I've already said my predictions. So thank you so much for joining me on my Clue 1 journey. I will be back next week with my completed Clue 2 video. And there'll be another video before then. It's my Let's Knit Together series, which is where I just sit and knit with classical music. And you can knit along with me, or crochet, or craft, or do whatever else. So look for that on October 15th. And then on the 16th, I'll have my Clue 2 video. Until then, keep well, take care of yourselves. Tell me how your shawl is going in the comments. And happy knitting. Bye.